All right, so can anybody just give financial advice out there? Aren't there laws? Aren't there licenses you gotta have? I mean, shouldn't there be limits? Shouldn't there be something to protect us from bad advice? The reality is yes and no, there's not. But let's talk about some of those nuances. Who can give financial advice, and really, who should you be listening to for financial advice? That's more important. And that's what I want to share with you right now. Okay, so let's talk about financial advice in general. Some people will wonder, like, well, who can give financial advice? The answer is anyone can give financial advice. They can give their opinion of what they think is true. That's the good part and the bad part, unfortunately, right? I love that there's a myriad of opinions out there. Even some of those opinions are crap, which obviously they can have their opinion, but it doesn't mean it's true, right? Heck, you can even challenge my opinion. Trust me, some of you guys already do. And that's fine, right? The one thing I do love is that many of you are also open. So when you bring out comments, we can then clarify and go deeper than just these few little short minute videos, right? But that's the great thing, is that we can give financial advice, and I'm even open that I could be wrong with that financial advice. Now understand though, there aren't all these regulations around financial advice per se. Anybody can share their opinion. You go on social media, TikTok or Instagram, you already know this to be true. There's lots of different advice out there, some that will actually fight with each other, do react videos. Heck, I've done react videos to other people's financial advice and disagreed with them. Sometimes agreed, sometimes disagreed. And that's okay. It's good to have other opinions. That's the beauty of being in America today. However, because of that reason, that's also why you've got to be careful. Now, where would somebody need a license to give you advice? I used to be a licensed financial advisor back in the day. Technically, I kind of am a financial advisor in the sense I give advice about different things. I even hold certain licenses today, but I used to hold like securities licenses, with licenses to sell you mutual funds. Now, if there's somebody that's offering not just advice, but they're selling you something where they get paid off of it, for example, if they're selling you a financial investment and they get paid, that is somebody who needs a license. They need to be licensed to do that. So I used to have a Series 6 and a Series 63, and I was also studying for a Series 65, and I had life and health license, insurance license, and I was mortgage licensed as well, right? So I could sell you mortgage. Heck, I was trying to be the one-stop shop for my clients, And that's great and all, but just, looking back on myself then, even though I had the license, even though I passed the tests and everything, I'll tell you this, it didn't mean I was a genius. In fact, I would say compared to where I am now, I was a complete idiot when it came to money, okay? I knew how to sell and teach about mutual funds and insurances and things like that, but it didn't mean I knew how to grow my wealth. Because the truth is I was a broke guy living in a small little 1,700 square foot starter home that I was trying to renovate from scratch and barely able to make ends meet. That's who I was. But I was giving advice to people that were making more money than I was. I think that's why they call us financial brokers, because we're broker than everybody else that we coach, right? Or that are our clients. So I was a broker. I was broke. And I was giving advice. I was licensed to give advice. I was licensed to sell you those things so I can make money off of that. That's where you need a license. When there's license to sell, even RIA, or Registered Investment Advisor. I've debated this back and forth for myself. Do I want to get an RIA where I can be more blunt and give people actual investment advice? That investment advisor can actually give investment advice even when it's dealing with real estate investing and things like that. And then you get paid off of that advice. However, I decided at some point, I said, no, I probably won't. Why? Because I want to be in a place where I empower people to make their own minds up. I can educate them. I can actually help lead them to water, so to speak. I can even tell them, here's where, if you have this kind of money, it works best in these investments. This kind of money works best in these investments. But ultimately, the decision is up to you. Heck, we even have a network of people that people say, hey, who have you used for different investments? Yeah, we have them refer those people. But one thing I do that I make sure I never do is I don't try to take money from those investors, from those investment, or not just my own clients, but investment operators for the referral, for sending my clients over. Because once you do that, and by the way, if you're somebody who actually is giving some kind of financial advice and you're getting kickbacks from those people that you're connecting them to, especially if they're investments, you better make sure you have that license. Because if you don't, and something goes wrong, you will get your pants sued off of you. I have seen it so many times. And so for ourselves, we say, hey, we won't cross that line. We won't give investment advice. We won't say you should go do this investment or invest with this person. But yes, we do actually say, if you do this, here are the consequences. Here are the pros and the cons of these different decisions that you're making. And so that's where we kind of stop. We keep it at that point. We never cross the line and say, this is advice. Because again, if I did, then we would have to get another license. Does that make sense? So that's when you have to do it, especially when there's compensation involved. You definitely have to make sure you have a license involved there. Now, what about financial advice in general, right? What about the financial advice you're getting on social media and everywhere else? Which financial advice should you be listening to? Because we already know that even financial advisors are really just salesmen in suits. I mean, they're just people that are offering, these products, but you have to question it because, again, they're getting paid off those products. So naturally, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? It's just like going to a realtor. If you ask them, should I buy real estate? What are they going to say? Yes. You ask a financial advisor, should I buy a mutual fund? They're going to say yes. Now, they won't say which one. They'll say it depends, right? That's the safe answer. But they're still going to say, yes, you should have mutual funds as part of your portfolio. In fact, you should have your money with me. Why? Because I get paid a percentage of what you put with us. And in fact, let it sit there for many, many years. In fact, let it sit there for decades so that I can keep getting paid year after year, whether you make money or not. Now, they won't tell you that. That's what an honest financial advisor would say. A brutally honest financial advisor would say that. They'd say, yes, please put your money with me because my family gets paid thanks to you, right? And I literally do almost nothing when you put your money with me. I do paperwork. That's about it. So you got to be careful with that kind of advice, right? You got to take that with a grain of salt, but also take social media and influencers with a grain of salt as well. What have they actually accomplished in their own life? I am not a big fan of people that say, hey, I just made a ton of money in Bitcoin the last couple of years. You should listen to my advice about Bitcoin. No, I'll tell you this. One, were they the reason why Bitcoin went up in price? No? Okay, well then they didn't do jack squat. They rode a wave. They gambled with their money and they made money. By the way, I've also made good money in Bitcoin just playing around with it. I just put play money in that. I wasn't even worried about losing. And yeah, I made more money than some of these people that are influencers talking about Bitcoin. However, I would never ever consider myself a Bitcoin expert or a crypto expert for that matter. One, because I don't think it's a great investment. I think it's a fun thing to gamble with, just like stocks are. But I wouldn't be the person saying that's the way to go. Everybody should throw their money into crypto. No, because I've been around long enough to know that's a bunch of crap. That's not a good place to throw all your money into. By the way, we actually had a client just this week say, should I throw all my money in crypto? No, that's not what we're saying ever, okay? Even we like alternative investments, it doesn't mean that we're saying go all in on everything, or a certain thing. You can have diversification, right? So be aware of what kind of advice these people are giving. What have they done in their own life? Have they been able to replicate it for themselves? And most importantly, have they replicated it for other people? Because remember, just because they got lucky with timing didn't mean that they helped others do the same. Now, again, if it's all market driven, it's just, they're just riding waves, they're not an expert. They're just somebody who's gambling with their money and happen to make money. That's as good as going to somebody that happened to win a couple hands of poker in Vegas. And you're like, ooh, can you teach me how to do that? No, that does not mean they're a professional poker player. It just means that they happen to make some money on a few hands. You want people that have made money whether the things goes up or down. Then you got somebody pretty awesome there. Now granted, you could look at my own life and say, well, Chris, yeah, you made money when it went up. And then of course you keep talking about how when the recession hit, you lost all that money. You bet I did. And I learned a lot of great lessons. That's why even going into certain years, even when there's certain little depression years and whatnot, even like 2022 in the stock market, I didn't lose money. Why? Because I was out of the stock market. I didn't want to be in the stock market by then. Why did I not lose money in real estate? I've lost very, very little money. I made way more money in real estate than I ever had lost in any of my deals. I came back stronger and I've grown my net worth year after year after year because, and also my cash flow too, my passive income, because I was wiser from the mistakes I made in that previous recession. Now, if you start asking me questions right after the recession, I would take my advice with a grain of salt too. Looking back at myself at 2009, 10, 11, those years, I didn't know nearly the stuff I know today, especially about passive investments like real estate investing. I learned more in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years than I learned ever before those years, before that. And so you want to make sure you find these people that really do have experience in these places and know how to make money when it goes up and even avoid losing money when it goes down. That is when you found somebody good to follow. This is why a lot of times I've followed Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, but I've also seen sometimes too where he gives some crazy advice. And I have to take that with a grain of salt. Even though I respect the man and a lot of the stuff he teaches, the philosophies were amazing, still when I'm watching what he's doing today, I would take his advice with a grain of salt because he's talking about breaking the very rules he was talking about doing earlier, right? If he starts saying I'm going to go jumping after crypto after everybody else already jumped into crypto and then he lost money, don't listen to that advice. Here's another piece of advice too. For financial advice, Just because they make good money, they make a good income, does not mean that they're good with money. I repeat, just because somebody makes good money doesn't mean they're good with money. For example, I've had a lot of clients that are dentists that make great income. And some people will even try to make their occupational decisions based on, well, this dentist makes lots of money, this orthodontist makes a lot of money, I should do that too. They don't love it, they just do it for the cash, and then they're miserable. On top of that, many of my dental clients and orthodontic clients will say, I don't know the first thing about investing. I don't really know about how to grow my money. I know how to make it in my practice, and that's it. I can do my practice, but I'm not good with money necessarily. They might be good at saving it, but they're not good at knowing how to invest it and grow it. That's why they come to us to learn that, because that's what we do really well. Now, that's the thing, is you go find people that have actually done it and proven in their own lives and also replicated it for the people that follow them, even their clients. That's where I go for advice. Even when I want business advice, I go for somebody who actually has been successful in their own business and have actually been able to help other people do it. It wasn't just driven by them, it was driven by the systems or the tools or the principles that they teach and the strategies they teach that are able to work time and time and time again. That's the financial advice you go for. All right, so here's what I recommend you do right now. If you want to be able to go deeper into this, we've got podcasts we release twice a week. We got videos coming out all the time. I promise you follow this stuff and learn about how we think as investors, you can eventually become a better investor. Be sure to not just like this video, but subscribe to this channel so you can get more information right here.